Hi everybody, my name is Maggie and I'm an animal care specialist here at Brookfield Zoo. I know many of you are at home and missing some of our animal ambassadors, so we're going to take this opportunity to bring the zoo to you. So today we are going to show off one of our animal ambassadors and one of his very special adaptations, his prehensile tail. We're also going to be talking about how tails tell a tale and talk about how many animals have very special adaptations with tails. So let's head on over to Nicolette and Sandy, our Binturong. So many of you may have seen our two Binturong animal ambassadors, Sandy and Sheba, and learned about a lot of their really cool adaptations. They're from Southeast Asia. They live high up in the treetops, so they have really special grippy feet that help them climb up in trees, but notably their coolest adaptation is their prehensile tail. So you can see that tail grabbing onto Nicolette's arm. So prehensile is a really big word for grasping. So he uses that tail to grab onto branches. It provides him with extra support up in the treetops. He can also support all of his weight hanging with that tail. So we're going to check him out hanging around on our enrichment tree right now. So he might not use it all the time, but he's going to use it to provide him support as he's moving around. You'll see him grab on here and there. Nicolette's going to ask him to scoot around, but he has an exceptionally powerful tail. So this is one of his most helpful adaptations. Right now, Sandy weighs in at, Nicolette, how much does he weigh?
About 15 kilograms.
15 kilograms, so he weighs right around 32 pounds. And he is going to weigh upwards of 40 pounds when he is full grown. Sandy turned a year old in January, so he's still growing. His sister Sheba, she weighs 40 pounds. So she is full grown, she's 2 years old. So he has still a little bit of growing to do, but even at that 40 pounds, he can use that super strong tail to support all of his body weight. So Sandy is just one of 3 of our animal ambassadors with this unique adaptation. So we have 3, as I mentioned, in our ambassador program, but they're all very different and unique, but they all share this really cool tail. So we have our Binturongs. We have another one that you're very familiar with, our prehensile-tailed porcupine quilbert. And then we also have our tamandua. So that's our lesser anteater. You can visit them when we reopen our buildings in the front of Hamill Family Play Zoo. So they all have this really unique adaptation that helps them survive up in treetops. But other animals, I want you guys, while you're watching this Facebook Live, to think of other animals that have really cool tail adaptations and how that might help them out in the wild. So these 3 species that we have in the Ambassador Program are found all over the world. Binturongs are found in Asia. Our lesser anteaters are found in South America. That's also where quilbert is found in South America. Now we have one species of mammal that's found here in North America that has a prehensile tail. If anybody wants to write in and guess that animal, they have a really, they have the same kind of tail that these guys have, and they use it to hang in trees. So if anyone can name that animal. So please feel free to shout out any cool animals that have really unique tails. Here at the zoo we have snow leopards that have a really long tail, and that helps them for balancing in the rocky terrain that they would live in the wild. Cheetahs have a really long tail that helps as kind of a rudder when they're running really fast. We're all familiar with a rattlesnake, uses their rattle to deter predators and maybe mark where they are. So if someone passes by, so it's a really loud rattle. So animals use their tails in lots of different ways for hanging, communication. So all sorts of different ways animals use their tails. But today we wanted to highlight our prehensile-tailed animals. So Sandy right now, he's been participating in his training session. Nicolette's been asking him to climb all over his tree. He's been showing off his tail. Sandy has been trained since he was just a few weeks old. We hand-raised him here at the zoo. He's been part of our ambassador program since he was 3 weeks old. And like I mentioned before, he just turned a year this January. All All right, so we're gonna give Sandy some of his diet. So we've talked a bit about him living high up in the treetops. So some of the foods that he's gonna find that he lives up in the trees, he might eat some leaves in the trees, fruit. These guys are seed dispersers out in the wild. So they eat fruit and then they disperse the seeds that they eat in that fruit when they poop it out, and then those seeds grow into trees. So that's a really important job that they have out in the wild. So he's a really big frugivore, but then he also eats meat. He's checking out one of our other keepers walking around. All right, I think we have a correct answer as to what that North American animal with that prehensile tail, and it is a North American opossum. Very good. So we have a marsupial that lives here in North America that has a prehensile tail, and that's an opossum. If anybody didn't hear that, if I was standing a little bit too far from the microphone, that was an opossum. They're found here in North America, and they have a prehensile tail. So you can check out what Sandy might be eating in his bowl. He is getting some meat, and he's getting some fruit and vegetables, and he's also getting biscuits. Now those biscuits provide a really complete diet for him here at the zoo. It's kind of similar to you giving your dog food. That gives them the complete diet, but he is specialized for tree-dwelling animals that eat leaves and things like that. So it really gives him a complete diet. But for training, Nicolette was offering him his favorites. So he's gonna get fruit, banana, I think he was getting some strawberries today, apple, all sorts of things that are really high value items for him during his training session. But it's really high value for him to sit at the end of doing all his behaviors and just chow down on the rest of his meal. All right, well, I want to thank everybody so much for joining us today and spending time with Sandy here and one of our animal ambassadors. And I want to remind everybody to stay safe and visit us every day at 11 a.m. for one of our animal ambassador experiences. Thanks.